One of the great names in harness racing is Haughton, and the second generation of the Haughton family is Peter Haughton. I guess it's awful tough when you have a legendary father who's a Hall of Famer to go out there, and of course you've proved on your own your abilities, Peter. How difficult was it at first?
To me, it was a blessing to have a father the way mine was. He's been my idol ever since I was, a young boy, and once I decided to go into the business, to have the opportunity to work with the quality of stock that we have had, it's, nobody could ask for a better chance.
Was there ever a thought during your career that maybe you would go in another direction rather than harness racing?
No, this is the only thing that I can ever remember. Enjoying both the people and the animals themselves, and the work outdoors. It just encompasses everything that I could possibly desire to do.
Mm-hmm. You started really from the fair circuit right up into the pari-mutuels.
Well, there's a lot of different routes, but there's no question that you have to start at the bottom. Some people, they start with qualifying and don't have the opportunity to go to the fairs. But I started as a groom at a young age and then started training. And I had the opportunity to go to the fairs when I was 16.
What was the first good horse that you remember driving and winning with?
Well, the first good horse was the first horse that I ever drove. He's a horse called Dr. Doers, and he was a real honest trotter. I won 11-13 with him the first year that I drove him. Mm-hmm. I always had pleasure. Won my first $100,000 race with a horse called Armbro Omaha, though, and he won 5 that year. And it was just, we had 3 qualify for the final of the Prix d'Eté in Canada. And I got the opportunity to drive him, thanks to Mr. Armstrong, who's passed away, and Delvin Miller. Mm-hmm. My father asked Delvin to drive, and he told him, no, he says, go get the boy. So I guess I owe a lot to Delvin, who's also my namesake. Well, I'm his namesake. My middle name is Delvin.
Thank you very much, Peter Haughton, and continued success.
Thank you.
What about the 3-year-old division this year? Everyone knows historically of the great success of the 2-year-old Sun Sam and Scarlet Skipper's great earning power and great speed. How do you rate them compared to some of the other outstanding 3-year-olds you've seen the past few years?
Well, I've thought last year Sun Sam was the most impressive 2-year-old I had ever seen. He just, everything that he did with a tremendous amount of ease. And I guess I wasn't the only one. They syndicated him a couple weeks ago for $6.3 million. So that shows that the people think his potential earning power and his potential as a stud is tremendous, or as great as any horse that's been in the business. But again, he's not, I don't think, going to run away with this year. There's some very strong horses, and of course they've improved a lot. Scarlet Skipper and Overkill, and some of these horses, Mostest Yankee, of course, with his 58 and 4.5 mile track. They all have tremendous potential.
Peter Haughton is one of the star commodity harness trainer drivers that presently is engaged in harness racing. And Peter, over the past couple of years, you've had the opportunity to drive some of the outstanding horses in the sport. Who are some of these horses that you have a fondness for?
Well, last year I had a tremendous amount of success with a little horse called Doublemint. He got hurt early in the year, and it was great to see him. He had to have an operation, have a piece of a bone taken out, and to watch his rehabilitation and coming back to have such a great year. I think he won his last 8 or 9 in a row and beat the likes of Speedy Somali, and unfortunately hadn't peaked during the time of the Hamiltonian, but he did win the Kentucky Futurity. So he gave me a great amount of pleasure to know the problems that he lived through.
Is he your best trotter that you've been on?
He's one of the best. I've been on, so many great ones last year. Cole Comfort, of course, I won the International with him last year, and that was representing the United States in the international competition, and winning at home gave me a great thrill. Of course, Keystone Pioneer, she's just, every time she goes to the post, it gives me a thrill to see her. Now, about 4 years in a row, she's been one of the leading mares in the country. There's just been horse after horse to give us a great amount of pleasure.
How about for the Pacers?
Well, I think right now I have a soft spot in my heart for Handle with Care. She went in 54 and 4. I guess it's almost 4 or 5 years ago now, before the modified sulky, and when that was, she and Albatross were the only 2 horses to ever do it at that time. So she gave me a tremendous amount of pleasure, and like she stands out right now in my mind.
What one race might be your best moment up to now?
Well, I would say probably the International victory held as much thrill for me as any. That and 2 Kentucky Futurities I've won. They're true classic races, and they were both strong fields. I beat Steve Lobel, who was going for the Triple Crown one year with Quick Pay, and he was just an outside shot of a horse. And again, Doublemint last year. They were just, it's great to win the classics.
Thank you, Peter Haughton, and continued success.
Thank you.